Hello everyone, welcome to D&H TV. It is Tuesday, February 5th, 2019. I'm Chris Phillips, and we are here to talk about with you the largest IT opportunity of 2019. Here to do that, I've got Matt Allison and Trevor Schubert here with D&H Distributing. Guys, how's it going today?
Oh, all right.
It's going. How are you?
Just all right?
Yeah.
Just all right.
Just all right?
Pretty good.
So Matt, tell me about 2020. Tell me about the 14th.
All right.
Of the first month of 2020.
We don't
What's
care about
going on?
2019. We want to shoot to the future already. Okay.
Yes.
No, but it's important. We're
This
keeping an
year
eye on
is-
that ball.
Yeah, this year's going to go by fast.
So, 2020, January 14th, 2020. A very, very important day for those of us in our business. That is going to be the end of support provided by Microsoft for three of the most major operating systems that are out there. That is Windows 7, Windows Server 2008 and 2008 R2, and Exchange 2010.
Okay. So, tell me a little bit about what end of support actually means. If those of you don't aware of what end of support means, what it happens when Microsoft
remind people of that happened roughly 5 years ago was when we had the end of support for XP. Right around that same time was when the WannaCry ransomware virus came out, and hundreds of thousands of organizations were hit by this. It either cost them their businesses entirely, or thousands of dollars in order to get their data.
WannaCry being a virus that decrypted all the data on your network.
Yep,
And you had
ransomware.
You had to pay some hacker somewhere.
It was where we
Yeah.
all really first heard of ransomware.
Yes.
It was the WannaCry virus, and around that time, because there was I can't remember the name of the other one. There's two around the same time.
Yes, there was two around the same time.
But
yeah.
WannaCry specifically was in direct result of the end of support for XP. There were security exploits that hackers were able to exploit,
Yep.
and there you have it. Microsoft even released a patch about a week or two prior to the end of their support that would and did secure everybody who downloaded and applied that patch. But there were hundreds of thousands of people who didn't,
Right.
and they ran into that, and their organizations are potentially not here today. So that is why D&H is putting our own money. This is a D&H initiative called Innovate Up. The idea is yes, we're a year out. Yes, it's 2019, and to talk about 2020 feels a little rushed, but it's going to take that long. It's going to take a quarter or two per customer, really, to start with the evaluation, the conversation, and obviously then eventually the deployment.
Right. So, what are the moving parts then to going into this massive upgrade? We're not just talking about client systems. We're talking about server. Are we also including network infrastructure?
Yeah.
What is involved?
So I
with
definitely,
this?
I mean, I'll bring you guys in on that as far as specifics, because definitely that's what the Solutions Lab, and that's what our formula here has been a long time.
It's what we talked
Solution
about.
selling.
Yeah, it's what we talked about when XP went out
But-
and the support.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but that's exactly what's happening now. If you have a customer who's running mostly Windows 7, 2008, R2, Exchange 2010, that means that most of those systems were probably deployed somewhere around 7 to 10 years ago. Remember, Windows 7 came out a decade ago. Like, I know it
What
feels
was
like
launched?
yesterday.
Because I even
It was
forget
2009.
My
It was
goodness,
2009.
it feels like
Wow.
yesterday. But yeah, it's a
And I know
10-year-old
you and
operating
I,
system.
back as partners on the lab for years and years with Larry Henry and Hirsch
Yeah.
and the whole crew, we were quoting, we were taking requests for 2008 server builds and insisting on 2012 just because it was the new thing, it was the more stable thing. So that might be totally dating ourselves a little bit. But that
No,
was
but
at
that's a
that
good point. So
was
even-
getting off of 2003.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Even after the fact, once latest OSs are out, we all know it. A lot of people are going to stick with what they know.
Right.
So yeah, there are a lot of deployments of 2008. But what I would argue are those are just that's a software discussion, but it extends to every single facet of that customer's IT. I would say especially their networking. You can assume most of their access points, for example, were installed around that time, so they have an older protocol. God forbid, like B or A or one of those, or G, probably
Fancy
G.
N,
No, I think
fancy N,
but
could be N.
yeah, it could be N and
Yes.
N. Will be, anyway. So
It's not bad mouth N here. We're not here to do that.
but it hits, just about every category that D&H sells, and our customers have access to. Yeah.
All right. So, what are their options? Let's go through what options do they have in terms of doing the actual update. Like, are we talking about new server hardware? Are we talking about migrating to the cloud in terms of the server side? What are their options?
All the above. All the above. I think.
I'll throw it back to you on the software side.
Yeah. Well, obviously I'm biased. Okay. Let me put it one way. I consider it to be inevitable, our transition to the cloud. Our,
Yes.
as in you and me and every other person watching this broadcast. It's something we are all
Yeah.
eventually going to have to get our heads wrapped around, that IT, that what we do for a living, is going to become subscription based.
Yes.
It's going to become a commodity. It already is a critical element of every organization's budget. I argue it's equally as important as their water bill or their electric bill or anything else. So what I have been working with customers now for a while is to, when they talk about this Innovate Up, digital transformation, whatever term you want to use, when they talk about refreshing and updating to the latest technology, managed services is the best way, is I think the best next step. Not just cloud services, not just moving everything into the cloud and you're done.
Right.
But if you apply your own unique services that only you as an organization can provide, which could be any number of things.
Services like monitoring, for example, being
Absolutely.
aware of something on a Sunday afternoon, and I know that's something in the lab that we perpetuate and promote all the time, being an MSP, and having the ability to fix something before the customer even knows that there's a problem.
Yeah.
So, sure.
Yeah, I talk to customers an awful lot about actually how easy it is to become a developer. There's a lot of very simple software out there to develop third-party applications. Now, it takes a bit of a learning curve.
Yes.
But you take some time and you develop some sort of software for a particular customer that accesses a database. You could charge whatever you want for it.
Because you made it.
Because you made it.
Yes.
And then you'll service it long term. So let me digress a sec. What I'm ultimately getting
If you
at,
haven't already.
yeah, is I really, really promote hybrid opportunities. Yes, moving workloads entirely to the cloud is the new buzz,
Yes.
and everyone's really into what options are available to them, and it's there. And let's talk about it. There are some opportunities where I say, yeah, that's the better of the two options. But in most cases, and I'd say the most, especially with our customers, updating some hardware, keeping it thin, while expanding their capabilities via synchronization to
Right.
some resources in the cloud is honestly the most financially responsible and some of the most powerful builds that any organization can take advantage of. So I know that was very top level. I
Right,
know I
yeah.
didn't talk about any detail, but that's generally speaking, I think the message here is look bigger. Don't just replace these servers necessarily. Let's talk about other new things. And I include every other vendor in that conversation as well. Yeah.
So, Trevor, when we talk about actually doing the physical audit of a customer's location, whether that be their servers, their client systems, their network, and then figuring out what potential pieces of hardware are due for an upgrade, and then actually following through with that upgrade, that can be time-consuming and challenging for any of our customers. D&H has launched a wide variety of services through D&H Solutions Services over the last year and a half to assist them with that. Can you elaborate on exactly what we're able to assist with?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's U.S. wide, and I believe we have some instances in Canada at this point as well. But the idea ultimately is that we have the ability to work with our customers to reach out to their customers and do an actual network audit, an actual audit of their entire business, look at the hardware soup to nuts as far as what's sustaining it, do a Wi-Fi audit, for example, look at the topography, put up a heat map to figure out, okay, this is what you're currently using, this is the grade, the tech, the term, the A, the B, the G, the N, whatever the signal might be, or just the bandwidth in general. Are we on 10/100? Have we actually gotten up to 1,000? Do we need to look at 10K next? What do we need to look at to support it? Because to Matt's point, whether we're looking at a hybrid solution where you have thin devices on-prem with some cloud, synchronization, or you're going all cloud, the most critical piece that you need in that is a strong internet connection and good bandwidth and good redundancy on that entire thing.
So that is just a network audit? Does
Yes.
it audit anything else, devices, endpoints, anything like that?
We can do, it's scalable depending on the opportunity, and I think at that point when we're going back and following up with a quote, we can certainly work with our customers to figure out exactly what they have to make it a proper transition, because the point that I think we're all getting towards is that the idea is this isn't just a spend, as you said, just for the one piece, just for the OS itself. It's something that could be a complete spec or complete surgical overhaul of their entire business. And at that point, you might not have the capital. You probably don't have the capital to just write a check and say, here you go. You definitely want to look at the ability to roll that into some kind of a financing option. And as a managed service provider, you can do that, and you can add more of your margin-rich services into that overall spend to make it more than just the thing that we always try to get our customers away from, just quoting a part number and a price, because you as that resource are not a part number.
I think you nailed it. If you don't mind, let me just expand on that real quick. I think that's excellent transition or segue to the other really big benefit of MSPs, which is exactly that, the recurring revenue. There are so many benefits to that, so let me get to the really most important parts. So for anybody out there who's an accountant or runs their own business, they might be familiar with the difference between CapEx versus OpEx, capital expenses versus
I
operating
didn't
expenses.
come here for this.
For economics lecture.
All right,
No,
fine.
but
There's a chalkboard back there.
the bottom line is that operating expenses are typically preferred by accountants
Yes.
over capital expenses. The difference being a monthly payment or an upfront stroke and a check single payment. For a number of reasons. I'd say primarily, as far as an accountant is concerned, operating expenses can be fully tax deductible. So that's in a lot of cases, thousands of dollars back at the end of the year. It's also, I talked to a lot of customers who've been doing this for decades. They're close to retirement. Recurring revenue sounds awesome.
Yes.
Because they can like kind of set up their customer base under, what expected income, and they know, what their organization should bring in after they decide to leave. I think another huge part, and this goes back to beginning those conversations today about, device refresh and about looking ahead to the future. And when you, instead of present your customer with a 5 or 6 digit figure, hi, look at this giant number you're going to have to pay, you instead throw them a 3 or 4 digit monthly figure. They can add that as part of their budget, as part of their ledger. And as long as their budget stays in the black and it's within they can afford it, done.
Sure.
And now we have potentially freed up that capital that they had to start a conversation about additional, maybe back burner projects that they hadn't talked about in a long time. For an example that comes up an awful lot is, how about that digital signage,
right?
In your lobby that we talked about here a year or two ago. Now you have the extra couple grand in order to do that. So very beneficial moving towards an MSP model, if not inevitable.
And this can be scary for a lot of our customers because they haven't operated in this, especially if they're particularly worried about this end of support for Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to working in a capital expenditure environment. So getting started today is hugely important for them.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. If I'm a customer and I'm just going to sit on the sidelines, what advice would you give?
Okay, so then summarizing, D&H is putting a lot of effort behind this. We
Yep.
have, as Trevor mentioned, a lot of the services that are available. Some that we didn't mention, for example, is we have financial options such as leasing, so you can lease these individual devices, and again, put it on monthly revenue in that case. A step even further than that is to consider our device as a service program. Mm-hmm. This gives you the ability to not only to have your customer lease and pay for their devices in installments, but also the support, the product replacement, and all the services for those endpoint devices are all handled by essentially what amounts to be a contractor. This will allow customers to expand their business geographically almost exponentially. They don't have to be next to the customer in order to service them any longer, etc. Honestly, I could go on and on and on. We have an awful lot of services here that I don't know if a lot of customers. Oh, we have a recycling program.
Yes.
For example. So when you're talking to customers about this refresh, what am I going to do with all these devices that I'm taking out? Not only will we provide you with a recycling service, but the recyclers will actually pay you a portion of whatever materials they're able to recycle.
So there is a great resource available right now on D&H.com, our Innovate Up page. If you go to D&H.com, it is in our resource tab, and it's got a lot of the great information that we've talked about today. If you ever want to take a look at it, digest it, get more information on any of the things we talked about, our Innovate Up page on D&H.com. We also have partner services templates available for our customers to be able to kind of go out there and evangelize that stuff to their customers as well.
Yeah.
Matt, Trevor, thank you so much for joining me. My voice is completely gone, so that means we're
Hey,
done
you made
here.
it about to the end.
We're done here. I would like to mention, though, coming up on February the 7th, so the Thursday of this week, I will be back in here again. My voice will be better at that point. We're going to be talking about this thing, Logitech Rally, and UCC Communication Solutions. So join us, dnh.com/lab, 2 p.m. If you haven't registered yet, please do so. And then you will be back here end of the month, February 28th, to talk about Server 2019 for everyone that was leaving.
Talk about hybrid.
Yep,
There we
for
go.
everyone leaving 2008, we'll give you somewhere to go.
There you go.
Matt, Trevor, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys, everyone out there, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.